But let's talk about what you two really want to talk about.
Yeah. How do I explain this?
So Elon was drunk tweeting last night.
Yeah, you guys remember the Tesla Roadster? Anybody?
What is that?
Were you born then?
Do you remember?
I think I was just coming out of the womb when like murmurs of that came about. Yeah.
Yeah, back in 2017, they had this Tesla Semi event, and it wasn't really expected, but at the end of the event, they were like, by the way, there's some cargo on the Tesla Semi truck, and they rolled this car out the back, and it was the new updated second gen 2020 Tesla Roadster. And they went over all the specs and how it would have 600 miles of range and a 200 kilowatt hour battery and a 1.5 second 0 to 60, all these crazy things. I think it would have like an 8.8 second quarter mile, just ridiculous stuff. And then they gave people drives in a prototype, and then we never heard from it again.
Did they say 2020 right from the start?
They said 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2020 came and went, and 2021 came and went, and 2022 came and went, and 2023 came and went. Now it's 2024. In the time since 2017, there have been various waves that this thing has made in press, where like Elon or Franz will say something or tweet something like, oh yeah, when it finally comes out, it'll be better than we originally promised. And we're like, great. But also, when? And, you know, Tesla's notoriously late with things, but this is the one vehicle, I think you're on team, this is never coming out.
He's got notes.
I was, right?
Okay.
But I feel like I'm really just interested in like trying to understand what Elon is trying to accomplish with this car, because really most people are not going to be interested in a two-door impractical sports car from Tesla. That's kind of where the, you know, McLarens and Ferraris of the world kind of shine. And then he's talking about making the car fly.
Let's go over what he tweeted, and then
let's start with that.
I think Miles wants to debunk him, sort of, and
I would love to get into the physics of it.
Yeah.
So, okay, Elon last night tweets, and this is like Tuesday when this is being tweeted, and now you're seeing this on Friday, but something might have been said in the meantime. But he says, tonight we radically increased the design goals for the new Tesla Roadster. There will never be another car like this, if you could even call it a car. And then he replies, Tesla/SpaceX collab. Then he replies, production design complete and unveil end of year, aiming to ship next year. And then says, I think it has a shot at being the most mind-blowing product demo of all time.
First of all, Humane Pin AI, most mind-blowing product demo of all time. So big shoes to fill, but
sure, of course. This is shades of like what's been talked about before. I think years ago we talked about like the SpaceX package, how there's going to be a base Roadster, which is just an electric two-door, and then there's a SpaceX package version, which is going to have cold gas thrusters from rocket technology on the car, which lets it do this crazy 1.5 second 0 to 60. And maybe they put them on the front of the car for better braking, and maybe they put them under the car and it can hop short distances. I don't know why you would want to do any of this stuff on the street, or even, to be honest, how street legal any of that is. But to answer your question, I always thought it was just Halo car stuff. This will be low volume, which is why it's the lowest priority on the totem pole. But if they can claim that they have the fastest 0 to 60 of any production car, and it's a Tesla, that pays for itself.
But will the fastest 0 to 60 version of the Roadster actually be a production car variant? Because I feel like all of this SpaceX stuff is gonna, you know, I feel like it's gonna be very hard to make it road legal based on what he's claiming. I mean, do you remember that Key and Peele sketch of the basketball player after winning the game telling all the kids that they can fly?
You can fly. Go to the yes. I
and then
remember
they
that.
tried to fly. I feel like something very similar could happen. I mean, having a sub 1 second 0 to 60, that's unfathomable.
Yeah, so a lot of things have happened since the original 2017 announcement. Specifically, a couple other fully electric hypercars have actually gotten unveiled and at least started to be demoed and shipped. The one that comes to mind for me is the Rimac Nevera, which we did a video about. We got to shoot with Triple F, and that obviously is a $2+ million car, but same flagship concept. They made a fully electric, two-door, impractical sports car with ballistic acceleration, and that, just as a product, was entertaining enough for some people to be really into it. And there's a couple other things kind of like that have also come out. So I feel like there's a chance that Elon was like, oh, okay, the Roadster no longer beats those cars at anything. So the one thing that does make this stand out is if we do this SpaceX collab. And just to be clear, I'm not a rocket scientist, so
What?
all I really
you
understand, I mean, this is just, I don't know, maybe it's a shock to you guys, but all I really understand about the cold gas thrusters is that it's compressed air. Like when you see the rockets that are like self-landing, like reorient themselves in midair, they're using cold gas thrusters to push a very heavy rocket in midair to be vertically oriented to like land. And I'm pretty sure when International Space Station astronauts are doing like spacewalks, they have like little cold gas thrusters to like move around. I think that's what that is.
I mean, like, without knowing anything about it, if I'm judging the size of a cold air thruster that moves a rocket ship versus the size of a cold air thruster that moves a person in space with no gravity,
Yeah.
we're talking very different sizes, and something to move a car that can already do 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. Like how, I don't know the sizing of it, but also in 2017, he said there will be 10 of them seamlessly put around the car.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like what does that entail? There's not a ton of space in the Model S. Like batteries are already taking up a lot of space in EVs. Where are these thrusters going to be? What do they look like? How big are they? How are they powered?
Have you seen, they're called reaction control systems in space talk. And have you seen what they look like on like the old school NASA spaceships?
No.
They're like these, here, I'll put a picture in the Slack. They're like these borderline like Seussian horns. Hold on. Seussian?
Like Dr. Seuss.
And my thing is like the weight, right? Power to weight. That's a real thing. And so I've done some just basic rudimentary math comparing this to other cars that also have like very high or very low 0 to 60. So 911 turbo with lightweight package that's 640 horsepower, does like a 2.1 0 to 60.
Miles coming with receipts.
0.18 horsepower per pound. Rimac Nevera, 1800 horsepower, 1.8 0 to 60, 0.35 horsepower per pound. SF90XX, that's 1.9 seconds 0 to 60. That's like 1,015 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's 0.267 horsepower per pound. And then the fastest 0 to 60 ever recorded is the McMurtry Sperling. That's 1.4 seconds 0 to 60, and that has a 0.45 horsepower per pound. So this is going to have to be like an all-wheel drive car. I'm not sure if we're going to have tri-motors or quad motors, but that's going to add more weight. And if you actually want to have realistic range, because a lot of cars in these segments will have like realistically like 50 to 100 miles of real range if you're actually getting on it. So this car will probably have to have somewhere around 3,000 horsepower and weigh under 4,000 pounds to
Hell yeah, brother.
theoretically achieve somewhere close to a 1 second 0 to 60 or less.
So here's a wrench to throw in this. The McMurtry that you mentioned does have a bit of a trick, which is it has a fan.
Downforce fan, yeah.
So it has a fan underneath the car that sucks it down towards the ground to give the tires more grip than they would if it was just the regular weight of the car. It's possible that you could put thrusters on top of the car, pushing it down to give it a similar effect. So maybe you don't need as much horsepower if you're pushing the car down to give it more grip. Maybe.
But then again, the Sperling is not road legal.
Not even
at
close.
all.
Yeah.
Not even close.
They said they're going to make a road legal version, but I haven't seen that yet. So.
And it won't be as fast, though.
Right, exactly. Yeah, this is the thing about electric cars now is the thing that they can all do is give you a lot of power and they will all be heavy. So the thing about, the EV6 GT and the Model S Plaid and the Roadster and whatever other fast EVs come out, the Nevera, is they have really powerful motors, and in order to give those motors all of the power that they need a big battery. So, yeah, I feel like if a car is able to achieve all of this, it, by default with today's technology, has to be heavy, and that's a bit concerning for the rest of the dynamics of the car, but I don't know, maybe all they're after is the headline and the party trick.
He does never say this is a street legal car, does he?
I guess that's not implied. Yeah. Is it? I mean, I assumed the Roadster, you would have to tell people by now if they're buying a non-street legal car. So I feel like this is implied it will be street legal, but I don't know.
In that sense, people 7 years ago put down very big deposits for a car that now they're saying is being completely radically redesigned.
Yeah.
So it seems like they don't give a shit what they told people like a while ago. Like
Do you remember the math of how much people paid?
Oh yeah, and if you invested it in
It's crazy.
Tesla stock by itself, yeah.
There's two versions of the Roadster. There's the regular Roadster deposit, which you have given Tesla $50,000 that you're never getting back. There's also the Founders Edition, which is one of the first 1,000, which allegedly will have like all of the options in the SpaceX package. In which case, you gave Tesla $250,000 7 years ago that you're never getting back. So I hope,
Unless you didn't know this.
No.
if you
This
had
is-
invested that money in Tesla stock, you could have bought a very cool car.
You could have bought like six Fisker Oceans.
Yeah, you could be rolling in the deep, if you know what I'm saying. But, you know, people did actually buy that car or put the money down for the $250,000 Roadster. So I'm sure there was something in the order agreement, which is like this car may change by the time it comes out.
I'm
or
sure,
whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of when he says the end of this year, I fully expect that it's not happening.
So
by
he
the end
said
of this year,
unveiled the end of this year, shipping next year, right?
which is funny because they already unveiled this car
I know.
7 years ago.
Unveil part 2.
Yeah.
Unveil the real thing. Trust me, bro.
So this will be do they have another event and they're like, all right, here it is again. For real this time. I know we said it would be coming out a while ago, but like here it actually is.
That's
and
what
the
I
wait
thought
begins.
this was. When you posted it in Slack, I came in this morning, I was telling Miles, like, oh, what's the event going to be like? And he's like, no, that was just Elon drunk tweeting.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, if you had to put money on it or bet something that really meant to you, that if you think you're getting your free Roadster, what would you bet?
I would say eventually, yes.
You think
I
you're
just don't think
eventually
it's
going to get
anytime
the free
soon.
Roadster?
Yeah. I just will throw. Here's the thing about. I was telling you this before about Tesla. Tesla is one of the few companies, with the exception of the Roadster, that when they unveil a car, they almost always actually ship the design that they promised people. Pretty close. I think people would argue like.
Close enough. Yeah.
You know, obviously, like there's like mirrors and like little handles and things like that. But like when you see a concept car from another company, like the original Mission E from Porsche versus the Taycan, like there's big changes. And I think that's the knock of a lot of concept cars is we're never going to see this on the streets. And when Tesla unveils a car, minus all the specs, those change a lot. But the design of the car actually ends up on the street. Cybertruck being the most recent, most absurd example. So Roadster is like this like albatross around their neck where it's like it doesn't make any sense to ship this. It's an expensive, impractical car that won't have high volume, but it would be sick, and it would be the halo car effect for EVs in general. Because no one can afford a $2 million Rimac, but maybe there's a couple Roadsters on the road, and that makes Tesla look cool.
Do you think with this radical redesign it'll cost more?
I have no idea.
I think yes, absolutely. If they're actually going to throw this SpaceX tech into the car, like truly, I think it has to be. Which is why I'm skeptical as to whether
Well,
you're
I guess
actually
we
going to get a free Roadster now. They're like, oh, you get a Roadster for like $100K now.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of questions that surround that. Number one is this will be an option on the car, right?
Yeah,
this will
I
be
think
something you can get or can decide not to get. Two is if I gave you $250,000 7 years ago, I should just get the car, probably. But then also, like, what did that R&D look like between then and now? Like, how much have they spent? I don't really know. And how many other Roadsters will be bought to like make Tesla money?
Also, maintenance. Are they just going to have to hire SpaceX employees to work at every Tesla dealership?
That's a
Some
great
guy shows
point.
up and he's like, my eighth thruster went out, bro. Like it's done. There's a bird flew in.
Yeah,
or
hold up.
something.
We got to fly in a rocket scientist real quick. That's a great question.
As if getting your Tesla didn't take long enough already.
Yeah.
This is gonna add a little bit to it.
Also, noise. This will be a loud car.
Yeah, rockets
If
aren't quiet.
Yeah, like a jet engine at full thrust is over 120 decibels.
Yeah. That's a jet engine.
Yeah, is that the same as cold air? See, I don't know enough about.
Exactly.
Rocket
but
engines,
I can't
yeah.
imagine.
I
it's
can't
gonna
imagine
be
it's
quiet.
quiet. Yeah, it's not going to be quiet. Not that people, the thing about sports cars is they're not quiet. So maybe that's not a problem. But
No, but there are laws that have certain decibel levels of what a car can be.
Especially in California, they crack down on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of loud cars that
Maybe
somehow
if
get
it's
shipped.
so loud and it breaks the decibel meter, then they can't get you because
what I
they
think?
can't see what the number was.
I'm realizing I think I just need to read more on the laws of what can be street legal and whether or not you can bend it. Because there are lots of little things like you're talking about the noise levels. Okay, if I just drive around the car like normal without the thrusters on, then it's quiet enough to pass. But it has a feature that might be too loud. So does that feature being not road legal means you can't use the feature on the road, or you can't use the car on the road?
You can
period.
only use it 500 times.
Yeah. I don't know if
think-
a one non-street legal feature makes the entire car not street legal.
That's actually true because the Bugatti Chiron Super Sport 300 Plus or whatever, that's a 300 mile an hour car, but you can only go 300 miles an hour if you have someone from Bugatti basically unlock that feature for you. You couldn't just go down Fairfax and
Right.
hit 300 miles an hour.
Right. So if this car has a crazy SpaceX booster package that you can only unlock in certain perfect situations when the steering wheel is facing 0 degrees true north on a certain road, is that cool to ship to everyone? I guess. I don't know.
Honestly, probably. It's terrifying, but probably.
mean-
and then if you get caught using it,
That would be the cool version of Fisker's 500 like boost limit. If I could only do a sub 1 second 0 to 60 in my Roadster like 500 times, I'm cool with that because that's actually that's
absurd.
actually insane.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think what Elon says when he means this is probably the coolest tech demo is that's when you get to use this feature. Is it's like when you're at a drag strip or something, then you get to unlock it with a special mode, and this is when you can do your cool like viral video dance of like, look, my car jumps and flies and goes 0 to 60 in 1 second.
it's weird because it's just like the best case scenario for this feels like a month's worth of YouTube videos, and then no one ever cares about it again.
Hey, that's a lot of promo. That's a lot
Fair.
of PR.
Yeah, right over there. You're just fawning over the new Roadster at the
Yeah,
test.
right. I was curious, did he mention whether you would like pull up to a cold air station and get a new tank, or are they going to put an air compressor that just annihilates the battery?
I think a lot of air
Bro,
compressors.
there's air all over the place.
But like no, like an air compressor in the car.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, you need so I think this has been detailed slightly on Twitter, which the details are fuzzy to me, but they said something about like the back seats of this package will be because the Roadster has back seats. We'll
Right.
replace that with the compressors and the cold air canisters and all that.
I didn't know this was a 2+2.
It is a 2+2. But with this package, it would be 2 seats, and then behind you is a ton of compressed air, maybe, and some compressors. Yeah. But this is all just, that's the thing, is none of this is on Twitter's website. This is just Elon Twitter. So
Which is
I don't
not
know.
real.
We can only go official based on what's on Tesla.com, but there is a ton of other details and random things that have been said on Elon's Twitter, and I don't know what part of that will make it to reality and to the website and to the car that ships. No clue.
Yeah.
I guess my final question is, let's say it's road legal. There's a version you can buy and drive on the road that's capable of a sub 1 second 0 to 60. It's quick. It looks nice. Range is acceptable for, I guess, something that's capable of this. Let's say around like 200 miles, right? Which is EV6 GT
It is.
range. Is this something you would want to buy and keep in your stable?
You know, a lot of people have a fun car. That's a totally impractical summer weekend fun car, and that seems pretty fun. I did put in, like, I have a deposit down for an actual order, but I also have sitting in my Tesla.com account, we'll put it on the screen, a Founders Edition referral reward or whatever it's called. So whatever happens to that, I don't know, but that seems like it would be really fun. I don't know how long it would be fun, but 0 to 60 in 1 second doesn't feel like it would get old very fast.
What comes first, that Roadster or Lane gets her driver's license?
How old do you have to? 16 years or something? I'll go bold. I'll go Roadster.
That's the bold answer.
That's the bold answer.
Okay, I got a question for you guys. He said this was the coolest tech demo, right? Which makes me think he just saw the tech demo and was hyped and started tweeting about it. What do you think the tech demo is? Because looking at a car go 0 to 60, I feel like is not that cool. as a spectator.
So the thing that Tesla does at every single one of their events when they unveil a new car is they go take people out for a brief drive in it. And watching people ride along in a Cybertruck is like not that exciting. But every person that got in the Cybertruck and did the 2-second like pull down the back straight of Hawthorne was like, they got back and they were like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I think the tech demo for this car, I don't think they've actually done it in person yet, but I think they did the napkin math and they were like, yeah, if we put 2 thrusters here, 2 here, and 2 here, it could jump and fly and do 0 to 60 in 1 second. And feeling that from the inside of the car is the coolest tech thing anyone's ever experienced.
But what about from outside of the car? Like on a live stream, how are they going to demo this cool?
I still
tech
think
demo?
it's cool.
It's just going to be YouTube videos.
Do you remember Ellis's face?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Navara video.
No, but that's what I mean. Like you need to be one of the people physically in the car to experience these things.
There's a lot of YouTube videos of reactions. Remember when they first started coming out and there's launch reactions of like ludicrous mode? Like those videos went viral. Like those blew up back in like 2015, 2016 because it was like this crazy new thing. And you're like, I wonder what that feels like. A roller coaster with a steering wheel?
Is there anything out there that could be used as a basis of comparison to show how insane the sub 1 second 0 to 60 is? Like in a tech demo?
That new Red Bull drone.
Well, no one can feel that. I was going
No,
to
you
say a
can't
roller
feel
coaster,
it.
like an actual roller coaster, like the fastest roller coaster that just launches from 0. I think there's got to be like a 1.5 second roller coaster.
I think it might, his idea of the coolest tech demo might just be the Roadster taking brief flight. Not like
Probably.
actually ascending into the air, but like catching maybe like a few seconds of air.
Yeah, which seems like completely useless,
Yeah.
but super cool.
And that guy did it in San Francisco already, didn't he?
Unfortunately, yes, with a plaid.
I was looking at the Reddit thread on the Tesla subreddit, and just if everyone thinks we're haters, or I know a lot of people think I'm a Tesla hater, but
I'm a Tesla hater.
okay. But these were the 4 top comments on the Tesla subreddit at the time of recording this. First one. So in other words, it's delayed again. Next one. That's one way to say the design is far from finished and production won't start until 2027 at the earliest. Then something's telling me $200,000 is not going to cover it.
Bingo. Let's
go. And then do those goals include making a version that will be sold to customers? So it seems like even the Tesla subreddit isn't really
I think most
completely
people have-
sold on these tweets.
I think a lot of people have given up on the Roadster very fairly.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. And yeah, I think it's pretty irrational to expect it to come out anytime soon.
2030.
That's 6 more years.
Yang Wang.
And what would you bet?
2 will be.
Well,
Navara Type 3.
what before or after 2030?
Based on what I know, because that's the thing.
Do you know something we don't know?
No. That's the thing is all I know is what we just keep getting on Twitter, which is they've improved it. Also, here's the other thing, and I want to ask someone at Tesla this. How much of the Roadster promises were based on assumptions about improvements in technology based on currently available tech? Like when they showed the Roadster in 2017, some people don't remember this, it said it would have a 600-mile range. It also said it would have a 200 kilowatt-hour battery. They said that on stage. With today's tech, that's a 6,000-pound battery.
Easily.
Just the battery.
Close to 7.
So is that assuming an improvement in technology that would make that only a 3,000-pound battery? Or did they plan on shipping a 7,000-pound sports car?
The Plaid is over 100, right?
The Plaid is a 100-ish kilowatt-hour battery.
And that car is like 4,800 pounds.
Yes.
So you could nearly...
So they were going to ship a 200 kilowatt-hour battery. So when Tesla says these things, are they saying, I think by a certain point, if we're going to ship this car by 2020, with these new battery types and this new cooling that we're planning and with enough advancement sufficiently, we'll be able to ship this reasonably with 200 kilowatt hours and normal weight? Or did they go, yeah, we'll ship it with today's tech? I just feel like there has to be some consideration for the future.
What is normal weight for a Roadster?
For
Not
like a gas?
6,000 pounds.
For a sports car, I mean, the Rimac weighs more than the Plaid.
It does, but it also
it's-
has quad motors.
Yeah, and it's a suspension miracle, and like it's a $2 million car. But
A
yeah,
Civic is what, like 3,000 pounds? And I only know that
over.
because of comparing it to the Hummer EV's battery,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
like 3,000 pounds.
So when you ask me 2030, and all I have to go by is they just changed the goalposts, I need to know if they're basing it on today's tech or if they're going, I think by next year we could probably improve this, that, and the other, and maybe.
Didn't they say the Cybertruck was supposed to be 500 or 600 in its like
They did, yeah.
form?
They miss on specs a lot. They ship the design, but they miss on specs. So it's late with a design you love with a different set of specs.
Let's change the love part.
Well, some Cybertruck people love the
We went to
design of
Wawa
Cybertruck.
yesterday, and some guy was like, "Man, looks so much better in person."
Really?
Yeah.
There's someone parked outside looking at it probably every time I go to the kitchen.
Yeah. I turned Sentry Mode on just because I want to see
people looking
and
at it.
literally in the last 2 days, there was like 7 or 8 different clips of people like taking pictures, poking it, looking inside it. Like it's whatever
They're
you
just
think of it,
stealing
it's
Alex's
eye-catching.
fingerprint off the side
Yeah,
of
that
it.
which is still there.
I do want to say I think it does look better in person compared to
It's
what I
striking.
saw online. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the question I still have is, what on earth are the specs, guys? What is the
I think
specs?
they're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
They're probably scrambling now because I don't think anyone expected that tweet to
I
come
think
out
that's what
last
happens
night.
is Elon tweets it and the engineers are like, oh, got it. Okay, I guess we're doing it.
Just open their task app. It's gonna be a long one.
Cool. Hire SpaceX friends.
I was doing some reading on Jalopnik and also using some unit converters. And let's assume like the Roadster actually can accelerate to 0 to 60 in just like 1 even second. That's already about 2.7 Gs for a second, which is not like an insane amount of G-force, but it's not nothing. But by the time you start getting sub 1 second, like even at like 0.86 seconds, you're already now at like 5 point something Gs,
Dang.
which if you hold for 3 or 4 seconds, the average person like runs the risk of blacking out.
Yeah.
And any faster than that, the G-forces alone can like break your ribs. So, and I'm assuming like the SpaceX people know this because, you know, the space part.
They put people in rockets. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
I think this is definitely bursts.
is it worth a car going this fast if a person can't be inside of it?
No, yeah, it has to be able to have a person.
Yeah,
inside.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a burst. Like you can't have rocket-sized tanks on this car. It's got to be small canisters of air and small bursts.
Right. But even like if you're approaching like 7 Gs for like 7 seconds, you could black out.
I think it would be like 1 second of bursts.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Do we think that Tesla SpaceX is something they're gonna sell?
What do you mean?
Or is it just going to be a tech demo showing like some of the cool things that they
Are
do?
you going to be able to get a SpaceX badge on your Roadster?
I think they would love to do
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
If the tech is in there, that's 100% going to happen.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Ellis here. Welcome to the Clips outro. If you watched the full episode of this week's pod, you might have noticed us arguing about pies and egg dishes for a little bit. So I thought I'd throw a little bonus, not for points trivia question here for the clear pie enjoyers among us. So specifically savory pies, and specifically I want to know, cottage pie and shepherd's pie share all of their ingredients except for one.
Can I just tell you, and I tried to tell you this yesterday, I think. I think a lot of us know the pod quiz trivia. You have mentioned this so many times that this was a question on pod quiz, and I got it right because of.
Hell yeah.
So yes,
Is it the cheese?
no.
There's no cheese in either dish.
Why
Do
is
you
it called
know?
cottage pie?
Cottage pie and shepherd's pie share all ingredients except for one.
Flour?
Shepherd's pie has lamb. Cottage pie has beef.
Let's go, Andrew. Savory meat pie genius over there. Make sure to like and subscribe. Oh, make sure to like and subscribe.